Motivation is temporary, systems are permanent. Motivation is an emotion, and emotions fluctuate. You cannot build a life, a business, or a legacy on something that disappears the moment you feel tired, rejected, or uncomfortable. Systems and processes outlast any emotional high you will ever experience. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Most people wait to feel motivated before they act. This is completely backwards. The truth is, action generates momentum, and momentum generates motivation. You must move first, feel later. Discipline is the real currency. Discipline is showing up when motivation has already left the building. The people winning in life are not more motivated than you. They are simply more disciplined. Discipline does not require feelings. It only requires decision. Identity drives behavior. If you identify yourself as someone who gives up when things get hard, motivation will never save you. But if you shift your identity, if you see yourself as someone who simply does the work regardless, your behavior changes permanently. Volume and repetition beat inspiration. One motivated day produces nothing lasting. 1,000 disciplined days produces everything. The person who shows up consistently, without inspiration, without applause, without a crowd, always defeats the person who shows up only when they feel ready. The cost of waiting for motivation. Every day you wait to feel motivated is a day your competitor does not wait. Time is the one resource that never refunds. The cost of inaction is always greater than the cost of imperfect action. What if everything you believed about motivation, every quote you saved, every speech you replayed at 3 a.m., every moment you told yourself, tomorrow I'll feel ready, what if all of it was quietly destroying your chances of success? What if the very thing you were chasing to push you forward was actually the reason you kept falling behind? What if motivation, the thing the entire self-help industry sold you, was never designed to get you to the finish line? What if the most successful, the most dangerous, the most unstoppable people on this planet woke up feeling nothing, no fire, no spark, no electric rush in their chest, and still walked into the war of their day and won? What if I told you that the people changing industries, building empires, creating freedom, they do not feel motivated, they feel tired, they feel uncertain, they feel afraid, and they show up anyway, because they stopped waiting for a feeling and started trusting a system? What if the moment you stop chasing motivation is the exact moment your real life begins? Because here is the brutal truth nobody wants to say out loud. Motivation is not a ladder. It is a carousel. It keeps spinning, it looks exciting, but you never actually go anywhere. Today, right now, I'm going to show you why motivation was always the wrong target, what actually replaces it, and why the people who understand this simple shift become completely, terrifyingly unstoppable. What if everything you believed about motivation, every quote you saved, every speech you replayed at 3 a.m., every moment you told yourself, tomorrow I'll feel ready? What if all of it was quietly destroying your chances of success? What if the very thing you were chasing to push you forward was actually the reason you kept falling behind? This is not a comfortable speech. This is not the kind of talk where I stand here and tell you that you are amazing, that the universe has a plan, that one day the stars will align and you will feel this magnificent, unstoppable surge of energy that carries you straight into the life of your dreams. No, that speech has already been given thousands of times, and yet, here you are, still waiting to feel ready, still waiting to feel motivated, still watching videos, still reading quotes, still telling yourself that tomorrow will be different, because tomorrow you will finally have the energy, the clarity, the fire to start. Let me ask you something honest. How long have you been waiting? 1 year? 2 years? 5? Because here is what nobody in the motivation industry wants you to understand. If motivation actually worked, you would have already arrived. You would already be there. You would already have the business, the body, the bank account, the relationship, the freedom that you keep telling yourself you want. But you are not there, and the reason is not that you lack motivation. The reason is that you have been chasing motivation itself. And motivation was never the destination. It was never even the vehicle. It was just the feeling you got when you imagined the destination. And feelings do not build things. Work builds things. Let me tell you something that changed the way some of the sharpest business minds in the world operate. And it is so simple it will make you angry that nobody said it to you sooner. Motivation follows action. It does not precede it. Read that again. Motivation does not come before action. It comes after. The reason you feel motivated after a workout is because you did the workout. The reason you feel inspired after writing a page is because you wrote the page. The reason you feel unstoppable after making one difficult phone call is because you made the call. But what did most people do this morning? They woke up, looked at the ceiling, checked their phone, scrolled through the highlight reels of other people's lives, felt terrible about their own, told themselves they would start properly when they felt better, and then waited. And the waiting produced nothing, because waiting never produces anything. Waiting is not strategy. Waiting is not preparation. Waiting is not patience. Waiting is just fear wearing comfortable clothes. Here is something shocking, and I need you to really sit with this. The highest performers in the world, The ones building companies worth hundreds of millions. The ones transforming their bodies at 45. The ones who seem to operate at a level that feels almost inhuman. They do not feel more motivated than you. They feel less, because they have been at it long enough to know that the feeling of motivation is unreliable, inconsistent, and completely irrelevant to the outcome. They stopped caring about how they feel before they start. They only care about starting. There is a concept that operates quietly underneath every truly successful person's daily behavior, and it is this: the professional does not wait for inspiration. The professional shows up at the same time, does the same work, applies the same standards, whether they feel like a genius or whether they feel like a fraud. The amateur waits for the perfect feeling. The professional creates the perfect habit. And habits, unlike motivation, do not require your permission. They do not require your mood. They do not require a powerful speech or a dramatic moment of realization. They just require repetition. Day after day after day after day, until the action becomes as automatic as breathing, until you no longer have to summon courage to begin because beginning has become who you are. Now I want to talk about something even deeper, because if we stop at be disciplined, we have not really solved the problem. The real issue is identity. The reason motivation fails you is not just because it is temporary. It is because motivation is trying to change your behavior without changing your belief about who you are. And behavior always returns to identity. If somewhere deep inside you, you believe you are the kind of person who quits when things get difficult, then no amount of motivational content will permanently change that. You will feel fired up for 3 days, maybe a week, maybe a month, and then something hard will happen, something uncomfortable will arrive, and you will return to the behavior of the person you secretly believe yourself to be. This is why people lose 30 pounds and gain it back. This is why people start businesses and abandon them. This is why people have extraordinary moments of progress, followed by long seasons of collapse, because the behavior changed, but the identity did not. So the real question is not how do I stay motivated? The real question is who am I deciding to be? Because the person who has decided they are a builder, they build even when it is ugly. The person who has decided they are an athlete, they train even when they are exhausted. The person who has decided they are an entrepreneur, they sell even when they are scared. They do not do these things because they feel like doing them. They do them because it is who they are. And identity, unlike motivation, does not have off days. Let me give you the math that most people refuse to accept. One inspired day of work produces very little. 1,000 consistent, disciplined, ordinary days of work produces something extraordinary. The most dangerous person in any industry is not the most talented. It is not the most gifted. It is not even the smartest. The most dangerous person is the one who simply refuses to stop. The one who does not need perfect conditions. The one who does not need applause. The one who does not need to feel ready. The one who just keeps going. Volume and repetition are the most underrated competitive advantages in the world. Not strategy, not talent, not connections. Just showing up more than everyone else. Just being willing to look bad for longer than everyone else. Just being comfortable being a beginner for longer than it feels comfortable. Because here is what happens on the other side of consistency. Something that motivation never builds. Competence. And competence builds confidence. Real confidence. Not the kind that comes from a speech. The kind that comes from evidence, from results, from knowing that you have done the hard thing before and you can do it again. That is the confidence that does not shake. That is the confidence that performs under pressure. And it is built one unglamorous, unmotivated, undocumented day at a time. I want to address the cost of waiting, because I think this is the part that needs to truly land. Every single day that you wait to feel motivated is a day that someone else, someone equally talented, perhaps less talented, is working. Not because they feel amazing, not because the stars aligned, not because they watched the perfect video or read the perfect book, because they decided that the cost of inaction was greater than the discomfort of action. Think about the opportunity cost of every year you spent waiting to feel ready. Think about who you could have become. Think about what you could have built. Think about the conversations you did not have, the risks you did not take, the versions of yourself you did not become, because you were waiting for a feeling that was never going to arrive on time. Motivation is not punctual. Motivation shows up after the party has already started. And the people who understand this, the people who start the party themselves, who set up the room, who put out the chairs, who begin before anyone arrives, those people are the ones who change the game. So let me leave you with the real framework, not motivation, but the 3 things that actually work: decision, system, identity. Make a decision, not a wish, not a goal, not a I'll try. A non-negotiable, irrevocable decision about what you are going to do. Build a system, a repeatable, scheduled, measurable process that removes the need to rely on how you feel. The system runs whether you feel good or not. Shift your identity. Start seeing yourself not as someone who is trying to change, but as someone who already is the changed version. Act from that place. Speak from that place. Protect that identity fiercely. These 3 things, decision, system, identity, will take you further in 6 months than motivation has taken you in 6 years. Because they do not depend on how you feel when your alarm goes off. They depend on who you decided to be when no one was watching. Here is the final truth, delivered with nothing but respect for your time and your potential. Motivation is not your enemy, but it was never your savior either. It is a signal, a spark, that tells you what matters to you. But a spark is not a fire. You build the fire, you feed it, you protect it, you keep it burning long after the spark has disappeared. The life you want is not waiting for you to feel ready. It is waiting for you to decide. It is waiting for you to show up. Messy, uncertain, unmotivated, and absolutely committed. It is waiting for you to become the person who does the work because the work is who they are, not because they happen to feel inspired on a Tuesday morning. Stop chasing the feeling. Start building the system. Stop waiting for motivation. Start creating the identity. Stop asking when you will feel ready. Start accepting that readiness is built, not felt. The world does not reward the most motivated person. It rewards the most consistent one. And consistency, real, boring, beautiful, unstoppable consistency, is available to you right now. Not tomorrow, not when your life gets easier, not when the conditions are perfect. Right now, in this moment, with whatever you have. That is enough. You are enough. Now go build something.